The topic of my talk today is raising readers, and we've been working in the reading space for a long time now, and we come across a lot of parents, a lot of schools who always come to us and say, there's been an issue that the reading habit is going down. What can we do to kind of safeguard the reading habit? The whole idea of doing this talk is to exemplify that it's not that difficult to raise readers. It's a kind of pretty much easy if we know how to do that. And we at Scholastic have been working in the research space to find out how we can raise readers. And primarily the reading as a habit stands on 4 different pillars. First of them being the excess, second choice, third involvement, and fourth practice. The first thing that the pillar is the access. It could be kind of a classroom library or a home library, or the intervention which happens at the school level or at the parent level, where the kids are exposed to different kinds of books, be it the school fairs, be it the school clubs, be it the bookshops. But the whole idea is, how do you bring books to the kids? Because the research has proven that the kids who've got access to a large number of books often tend to develop the habit of reading. The second and the most important pillar for reading is the choice. Choice is giving the freedom to the child to pick up the book that they want. And often this is the area where we kind of fault. We tend to tell them what to read, at what age, rather than giving them the choice of picking up a book themselves, exploring that book, liking that book, and reading that book. And often I say there, if a child does not like a book, it's better that he shuts down that book and doesn't read that book, rather than going through the pain of finishing a book because he's picked it up. This choice plays a very critical aspect in the developing or nurturing a habit of reading. A research, a kids and family reading report that we did in India in 2016 pointed out that 86% of the kids felt that they are the best people to choose a book for themselves. Third important pillar is the involvement. Involvement stems from the teacher involvement, the parent involvement, or the school involvement. Often we've come across that the parents are the role models for the kids when it comes to reading. If the child sees his or her parents as a reader, they are more likely to develop a habit of reading. In case of absence of the parent reading, the chances of them becoming a reader diminishes, as the research points out. Also, an important factor in the involvement is the read alouds done at the early age. Research again points out that the kids who have been read aloud to often end up developing a habit of reading rather than the kids who are not being read aloud to. When we deal with schools, they often come back to us and say, you're talking about parents as role models and parents doing the read alouds, but what if we guide the parents but they don't do it? Now there the answer is that if the parents are not doing it, the teachers can always take up the role of being a reading role model and doing the read alouds for the kids. Also, as I said, that parents are a role model to be seen as with the books, and then the parents pick up the habit. It's also the teachers who are more involved in talking about books, reading books themselves. The students pick up a habit from them. Involvement of the school also comes in place is the environment that we give at the school level. Are we a school which is giving adequate time for leisure reading as a school to be taken up as an activity, or as a classroom to be taken up as an activity? And the research again in the KFRR points out that the schools who follow this leisure reading as an activity, as a class or as a school, the more students from those schools end up becoming readers. Last, coming to the practice. Practice is one of the most important things in any habit to be formed. So if we are encouraging our kids to become readers as a school or as a parent, we also need to ensure that they are devoting time to reading. Again, a research points out that if a child reads for 20 minutes for 20 days on a regular basis, it's a kind of a stepping stone to forming a habit of reading. So all in all, raising readers is like a recipe. As I put it, if I want to bake a cake, if I know the ingredients, if I know the recipe, if I do the things in the right form, I'll end up getting a cake. Similarly, if I want my child to become a reader, if I know the ingredients, and what are the ingredients? Access, choice, involvement, and practice. And if I know the recipe, what is the recipe? Read alouds being done by the child, by the parent, by the teacher. Read alouds to be done as a school fraternity. the choice being given to the kids in terms of picking up a book for themselves, not expecting that all grade 4 kids can read the same book, giving them the independence to pick up a book, read that book and develop the habit of reading. It's all about the genre that they like, support them there, and also having a kind of an assessment in terms of where is my child at the reading level, and allowing them to explore the books. More and more books available in the school, in the classroom, at the home, makes a higher chance for your child to become a reader. So all in all, what we've been advocating and what the Kids and Family Reading Report pointed out was we can raise readers. It's not about that, today's generation is having more of digital time, having more of screen time, and they've got a lot more distraction. It's all about, as parents, as teachers, as school, how much importance do we put on reading and how much are we working with them. One of the important facts that came out of Kids and Family Reading Report was that we always think of read aloud as an activity for the kids between the age group of 0 to 6. It was even an eye-opener for a person like me who did a lot of read alouds for my daughter when she was growing up. And despite me not being an avid reader as a child, she became an avid reader because we were doing a lot of read alouds, and I started with her at the age of 9 months. But what I did not envisage before going through the Kids and Family Reading Report was when they become independent readers, they want the read alouds to continue. So even 57% of the kids in the age group of 6 to 14 said they wanted the read alouds to continue. And I think that's a very strong message for both teachers and parents to understand that we believe that read alouds are an important component till the time kids develop the habit of independent reading. But even in the age group of 6 to 14, kids want their parents and teachers to continue with the read aloud because that's a special time and special bond that they share with their parents and their teachers. And I think that's a very important takeaway from the Kids and Family Reading Report. One of the other important aspects in developing the habit of reading is how do we give them an atmosphere which is conducive to reading. And that becomes a very, very important step going forward. It's all about, are we seen with a book? Are our teachers seen with a book? Or we just want our kids to be reading, but we don't want to read. The choice, as I said right at the beginning, is one of the most critical factors. I saw that with my daughter. Once she developed the habit of reading, it was all about what she wants to read. It was not about what I want her to read or what her teacher wants her to read. Last but not the least is an important fact that, we've got librarians in school, nothing against them. We've got parents at home willing to guide the kids, but we all are not in the habit of reading a children's book now. We read children's books some 20, 30 years ago. The books that are available today are far different from the books that were available then. We need a reading specialist at the school who reads current generation kids' books so that we can guide them. We need parents who are reading current generation kids' books along with their kids so that we can, if we want to guide them, we can guide them. But end of the day, we should leave the choice to our kids. We should allow them the luxury of opening a book, exploring the book, and if they don't like it, keeping that book aside rather than telling them, you bought this book, you have this book, you have to read this book. Because that's counterproductive to the habit of reading. I think that's all that I wanted to share. We've been working a lot in this space, so we've got a lot of exposure around how kids can develop the habit of reading. The Kids and Family Reading Report that I mentioned is available as a free download on our website at Scholastic. So I would encourage all parents, all teachers to go through that report to understand what can they do in this space. Thank you.